So, Gemma Summons on Twitter, yes, Rolf Harris does count, but you don't say whether you lived with him or in the vicinity of or flatmate or anything. We don't live too far from Robert Plant, say one of you. He goes to the local cinema a lot. My missus served him coffee. Mick, I lived yards from Charles Dickens' boyhood home. Does that count? And then Dan Cox, Oliver Cromwell stayed in my town. Alison Goldfrapp and also Alan Titchmarsh live here. Alton in Hampshire. And Simon Ward, I grew up round the corner from Bob Geldof. Does that count? Used to see Paula in her pyjamas in the paper shop in the mornings. The reason, of course, we're talking about this is the first book in Book Club this afternoon. Ali Catterall, welcome back for another edition of Book Club.
Can I just say, I love the conflagration of Oliver Cromwell and Abby Titmuss.
That couldn't have been... did you hear Abby Titmuss? No, that was Alison Goldfrapp.
Oh, Alison, did I say Abby Titmuss?
Yeah.
So it's more about me, I think.
Yeah, Ali, that's the way your brain works. It was Alan
or even Alison Goldfrapp.
Yeah, or even Alison Goldfrapp. But it was Alan Titchmarsh, so I can see the way your mind
I know, now I understand, yes.
So the book, then, is... well, tell us.
This is I Was Douglas Adams' Flatmate and Other Encounters with Legends.
And who have we got to thank for this?
Well, it's been edited, because obviously there's a lot of people talking their own voices here, by a guy called Andrew McGibbon, who rock aficionados might also know as the rock drummer Andrew Parisi, who has drummed with Morrissey.
Yeah, OK, well, we'll hear some Morrissey in honour of that in just a minute. But what are we actually getting then?
It's essentially a collection of interviews with the close friends or collaborators of famous types. So you've got people like Johnny Cash as Taylor, and indeed Andrew himself, Morrissey's drummer. I was curious that he didn't call it I Was Morrissey's drummer, but then again, I suppose calling it Douglas Adams, gets a bit of a wider audience. You get to sell to a bigger demographic.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, he probably toyed with both. So was he Morrissey's drummer and Douglas Adams' flatmate?
No, there's two different people.
Oh, OK.
Douglas Adams' flatmate was John Cantor.
OK, so we get all these in little kind of bite-sized chunks?
No, you get reasonable-sized chapters. I mean, it's quite a bitty book. I mean, some of the interviews are slightly more revealing or more interesting, I should say, than others. I mean, you've got the likes of I Was Tina Turner's White Dancer, who reveals, only White Dancer, who reveals that when she was taught at dance school that if you fall down, always make it look deliberate.
Excellent.
So she says, if you see Tina Turner fall down and the arm shoots out, there you go.
Good advice.
Absolutely.
OK, some of your favourites then, in
some
case
of my favourites, I think, well, my absolute favourite is John Bassett, who was Dudley Moore's first band leader.
Brilliant.
And my favourite story about Dudley Moore is when he was at the Establishment Club playing piano, a lady came up to him once and said, "I say, piano, you haven't played a waltz all evening." So Moore leaps off stage, takes her in his arms, and waltzes round the room with her singing la 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 la.
Brilliant.
I think it's just
probably more than she bargained for.
Oh,
so, in terms of where it fits in, I mean, would this be something that you dip in and out of? Would you read it in one sitting?
I think so. It's essentially a toilet book. Yes.
I thought you might be saying that. OK.
That's not a bad thing. It just is.
Yeah, that's where it might reside in people's homes. OK, well, please keep sharing with us then on the front of famous people that you may have had encounters with, a la I Was Douglas Adams' Flatmate and encounters with other legends. And we will come to our second book, Sex, Bombs and Burgers, after this, courtesy of Morrissey at Swayhead on Six Music. Andrew McGibbon was Morrissey's drummer, I think.
And he was playing on Swayhead.
And he played on Swayhead. Yeah. It all comes together. Actually, Liam Manchester's been in touch there. Drive past Morrissey's house, the original one, every day to and from work in Stratford. I've always wondered why there's no blue plaque. I'll have to put it to him.
Or a grey plaque.
Or, yeah, probably. As a nanny years ago in London, though, she says the school run would give me a tour of the Gallagher's houses, Noel's Supernova Heights on the way to, and then Liam's St John's Wood Pad with Patsy Kensit on the way back. Not exactly living near, she says. Well, thank you for everyone sharing on that front. And that was the book that we covered first. I Was Douglas Adams' Flatmate and Other Encounters with Legends. Let's come then to how war, porn and fast food created technology as we know it. As succinctly as you possibly can, Ali.
All I have to read is the title.
Yeah, exactly.
Sex, Bombs and Burgers, How War, Porn and Fast Food Created Technology as We Know It.
You have piqued our interest. How does Peter Nowak
talk about putting the title before the,
Exactly.
Everything's in there.
So what is it?
So basically
yeah, it says it.
Oh, I don't know. How advances in technology have been driven by our basest impulses, what the author Peter Nowak, who's a Canadian technology writer, calls the shameful trinity. Which is war, porn and hunger, which he says are hardwired into the human evolutionary system, which he's kind of got a point,
Yeah, not wrong. OK, so he's sort of, technology is where he comes from, so he's kind of written this, I guess, more light-hearted than he would ordinarily be covering.
It's very similar, actually, to another book that's come out this year, called An Optimist Tour of the Future by a guy called Mark Stevenson. It's written, who talks about the good things that are coming our way, like bionic limbs and living longer. It's written in the same sort of breezy, enthusiastic style, which joins the dots for non-sort of tech heads like myself, very much like myself, who knows nothing about science.
No, Ali, you're among friends, don't worry. I think that's good. And finally, I mean, I get the feeling, actually, that you had more empathy with this one than perhaps the first, and actually there was more in it to get your teeth into.
Oh, totally. It's a massive book, I should say that, and there's an awful lot in it. He's done a huge amount of research in here. I mean, just looking at the footnotes and the bibliography, he's really done his homework here. And there are fascinating things in it. I mean, did you know, for instance, that microwave... I suppose a lot of people know that a lot of things came from warfare. A lot of inventions we take for granted came from war. One of the good things about war. But did you know that microwave came from radar technology? That Google Earth came from spy satellite technology? I suppose that one's a bit of a shoo-in. Let me see. You know, there was an urban legend a few years ago that KFC, which is absolutely rubbish and all power to them, that the reason they don't use chicken in the title anymore, as in the reason they call it KFC, is because they were breeding something like mutant chickens without beaks or feathers or feet.
And this is all in this book.
But what happened, that urban legend was absolutely rubbish. What the reality is that Tyson Foods, one of the largest chicken producers in the world, actually bred a specially large chicken just to make chicken McNuggets with, and they called it Mr. McDonald, the range. So actually not too far from the urban legend.
Yeah, exactly. The facts that are within are incredible. Well, thank you very much for Sex, Bombs and Burgers, how war, porn and fast food created technology as we know it. We'll come to another book club very soon. Ali, thank you.